Welcome to Tapestry of Faith. This series highlights how people from different cultures and traditions are all united in their common Catholic faith.
And today we're going to visit the Ghanaian Apostolate at Our Lady of Christians Help Church in Brooklyn.
And later on in the show, we're going to check out the Filipino Apostolate, which celebrates Mass every week at St. Joan of Arc Parish in Jackson Heights, Queens.
But first, let's start by learning about the Ghanaian Apostolate.
The Republic of Ghana is located in West Africa on the Ivory Coast. The word Ghana translates to warrior king. Early kingdoms were known to have existed in the year 1240. Ghana has a rich cultural heritage and is an ethnically diverse country with a common identity. More than 250 languages are spoken. However, English is the country's official language, and Ghanaians speak a distinctive West African version of English. In the 19th century, Ghana became a British colony. But in 1957, it became the first African country to acquire independence from European rule. Traditional crafts consist of pottery, weaving, jewelry, and furniture. Exports include cocoa, gold, timber, rubber, aluminum, fruits, and vegetables. Approximately 2/3 of the people live in the rural regions and are involved in agriculture. Most households raise chickens and goats for special occasions such as christenings, weddings, traditional festivals, and Christmas. The current population is approximately 23 million. There are 3 million Catholics, and the country is divided into 18 dioceses. Some religious celebrations incorporate African elements, such as drumming and dancing.
Ghana certainly has an interesting history and a rich culture. Now let's see how the Ghanaian Apostolate brought this culture to New York.
I used to go to a church in my neighborhood, St. Francis of Assisi. But, it was a bit different from the way I knew back home.
I was involved with the Methodist Church. It's a Ghanaian community. I was also there as the organist and the choir director for about 9 years. I served with them. So culture-wise, I would say I didn't miss much because it was basically the same Ghanaian culture. But faith-wise, I would say I did because it wasn't the Catholic faith I was brought up in.
So I was first informed by the Catholic Migration Office of the Apostolate, and then priest friends invited me over.
I'm a founding member of this church. Okay, I enjoy to celebrate with them in my language, and at the same time, anything that we do here, I try to participate in it to help the children in the church.
So when we say worship our culture, as you can evidence this day, we drum, we sing, we jump, we clap, all in praise of the Almighty. This apostolate started about 10 years ago when a group of Ghanaians living in Brooklyn came together and started to worship in our own mother tongue.
Starting a new apostle is very hard because we didn't have so many people to start the apostle.
After we did a sensible number of people, we went to the Catholic migration, and through the Bishop Derry, we were granted permission to start worshiping in our own culture, and we were given a priest.
I hear the community members saying that this is, a sort of catchment area for, most Ghanaians. They live around here. So the choice of, having this place as a worshiping place is good because they can easily commute to this place. So areas around Flatbush, this place around Church Avenue are heavily populated by Ghanaians.
We want to thank God for the protection and the guidance He has given the apostolate since its inception in 1998. This year is our 10th year, having come together as a Ghanaian community worshiping in our own language. So to us, it's a milestone. So we really want to thank God for that wonderful years that He has given us.
We're going to take a break right now, but when we come back, we're going to meet more of the members and find out how this lively group gets to have some fun. Don't go away. Welcome back to Tapestry of Faith. Before the commercial break, we met some members of the Ghanaian Apostolate. We're going to get to know them a little bit better. And then we're going to stop by a very special dinner dance party.
For the Ghanaians, it has to be lively, it has to be celebrational. You know, it has to be injected with music, dancing and clapping. And basically, since the African is rhythmic and Ghanaians are no exceptions, we like what will move us.
In Ghana, we have masses that can last for 3 hours. In America, you go to mass, the longest will be an hour. You know, sometimes you go to masses that last for 15, 20 minutes.
The offertory procession alone, with the people carrying the gifts and dancing, by the time they dance from, from the one end of the aisle to the altar, 20 minutes gone.
That shows how happy people are to give whatever little that they have. You know, they will dance, and the music will keep playing for hours. You know, people will be dancing. So we didn't incorporate it. You know, it's something that has been ingrained in us back home in Ghana.
You heard different dialects up here. It is not all that tree. Not everything that was said here was tree or fancy. So it is for the sake of those who may join us for worship and may not understand the language. That is why we do it in English and in our local language.
The Ghana Apostolate holds many events throughout the year. So right now, we're going to show you one of the more popular dinner dance parties. They definitely know how to party, so check it out.
It's exciting. It's exciting that even the Ghanaians, when they come down here, they see that we are really using the language. Because people think when you travel, you can't use the language the way we are using it here.
Right.
Yeah, they think we come here and we forget about
We lose it. Yes, but that's not the case.
It's not the case. Yeah.
We're gonna have our traditional dishes like jollof rice. Jollof rice.
Okay.
The recipe is like regular rice
Okay.
with make a stew.
Yeah.
Tomato, pepper, whatever you meat,
Nice.
chicken.
Very, very, very excited because I mean, this is the 10th year we started this, and we never thought we would go this far.
I feel great that we do something in our own language to show our kids, so that when we are not here, they can do the same thing that we are doing. That's why I'm so happy to have this Ghanaian apostolates.
I have 3 of them, and it's very hard trying to, I'm trying to push them to understand the language, speak it, but it's not easy. So we're hoping that they will follow the same thing, when we are not here. But that one will leave it in God's hands to see.
All the up and downs, I'm glad that the Ghanaian Apostolate is still flourishing here in St. Catherine of Genoa Parish.
And it's good we've had something like that established here, to have the Catholic faith being proclaimed in our own language.
We are all one. We are like family. We are like family over here. We pray, we eat, we sing together. We do everything together, so we are like a family.
The Ghanaian Apostolate is definitely thrilled to have their parish here in Brooklyn. And the magnetic energy that this group embodies will no doubt attract more and more future members. Before our commercial break, we learned about the Ghanaian Apostolate and its cultures and traditions.
Joanna, how is it covering this particular apostolate?
I really love this group because they are a new group and they're just so happy to have an apostolate. They know how to live in the moment and really relish in the celebrations.
No, it looked very interesting. Well, now we're going to check out the St. Joan of Arc Parish in Jackson Heights, Queens to look at the Filipino apostolate. Let's take a look.
The Philippines are a group of islands located 500 miles off the southeast coast of Asia. The largest are Luzon, Mindanao, and Samar. The original inhabitants came from the Asian mainland and were followed by Indonesian and Malayan settlers. In the 16th century, Spain became an important presence in the islands and influenced the Filipino culture for the next 350 years. The native language, Tagalog, contains many Spanish words. Hispanic influences are apparent in literature, folk music, dance, food, art, and religion, including the Roman Catholic Church and their religious festivals. The Philippines are known for Baroque-style churches, and most of the population, about 83%, are Catholics. The Commonwealth of the Philippines was officially established in 1935, but in 1941 the islands were invaded by Japanese troops. In 1945, American forces under General Douglas MacArthur liberated Manila, and the Philippines finally became an independent nation in 1946. In 1986, with the support of the Catholic Church, Corazon Aquino successfully ran for president against Ferdinand Marcos, ending his 20-year reign of despotic rule.
In the Philippines, a large part of the culture is deeply rooted in a strong Catholic faith. Now, let's take a look at how they bring that strong faith with them to their apostolate here in New York.
If you are a Filipino, you have to be involved. You have to be one in the apostolate.
Whenever Filipino comes to the United States, and particularly to the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens, they always bring with them their culture, their spirituality, their Catholicity.
I am the founder of the cultural ministry. The coordinator then, who was then Father Soriano, thought of this cultural ministry. It's a family-oriented group, parents, children, and even all of us. We work together to teach our children with, the Filipino customs and traditions, like Tagalog speaking, folk dancing, Tagalog prayers, reading Tagalog books, things like that.
The Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens is the most diverse diocese in the world. The world is here with us.
If you want to meet a lot of Filipinos, come to the Catholic Church. And the reason why I say that is because it gives us direction together to work together towards the Lord.
When I arrived here, the apostolate has been going on. It is existing already.
That was established by Bishop Thomas Daly in 1992. The Filipino Apostolate was inaugurated at Our Lady of Lourdes in Queens Village, Queens, 1993. And the first apostolate coordinator was Father Eugene Soriano.
Since the Filipino is one of the ethnic apostolate, we had to build up our own apostolate so that we will be able to carry the banner of being a Filipino. The Filipinos have a great love for the different devotion. And what are these devotions? Specifically, we have the devotion to the Santo Niño, which is the infant Jesus. We have the devotion to the first Filipino saint, which is San Lorenzo Ruiz. We have also devotion to the Blessed Mother, especially the Lady of Antipolo. All of this devotion and many other prayer groups, devotional groups, we are trying to let them involved in the apostolate.
The only way you can connect with the tradition that you grew up with in the Philippines is by belonging to an apostolate like this.
Who they are back home in the Philippines. That is what they are bringing here to the United States.
When they came here, some people, they don't know Filipino music, and once they heard it, oh my God, it's so good.
You would feel the message of God through the songs, through the dances in the church. And when we came in here, we missed those things.
90% of the Filipinos are Catholic back in the Philippines, and we have a lot of way of showing being Catholic, like the way we practice our Holy Week here.
In the Philippines, during Holy Week, offices would close at Wednesday afternoon. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, no work at all.
I remember when I was a kid, we cannot even watch TV, we cannot even laugh, no parties, no happy things starting Holy Monday.
That's something which is not, you don't see that here. Why? Because you do have to work Monday, Thursdays, you work Good Fridays, you work Black Saturdays.
Here, it's very minimal that we just go to church.
And we also encourage the people attending the Mass to wear their national costume. For the men, we call men, and some women now are wearing this one. It's called the Barong Tagalog. Sometimes we call it Barong Filipino. It's made up of, ethnic fibers. This one is made of pineapple fibers. Only here in America, I really felt very proud wearing this. Back there in the Philippines, it's just an ordinary attire you wear there. But here, when I wear it, I want to see people to see me wearing this. We want to bring up the Filipino pride among the Filipinos here in the States.
The Filipino and Apostolates serve as a link to the different activities, events.
You will find a lot of Filipinos belong to different activities or religious groups. We have the Couples for Christ, which is very, very dominant right now in the New York area. We have the Apostleship of Prayer, we have the Rosary Society, we have different things that are going on. The moment we put those people together and put it into the apostolate, it gives us a direction together to be in one faith.
As a coordinator, I would like my community to be involved. So whenever there are events like the diocesan events, Our Lady of Antipolo celebration, the San Lorenzo Ruiz, our first Filipino saints, I bring my community to participate.
All the activities that we mentioned to you, they are rotated also between Brooklyn and Queens. So if this year it's in Brooklyn, next year it's going to be Queens.
When we come back, we're going to learn more about the Filipino apostolate. Plus, we're going to show you a special celebration for Saint Lorenzo Ruiz, the first Filipino saint. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Tapestry of Faith. Now, before the commercial break, we were able to learn about the Filipino apostolate as well as meet some of its members. Now, let's take a look at their Mass as well as their feast day celebration for the patron saint, Saint Lorenzo Ruiz.
If we are going to celebrate our liturgy, our Mass in our own language, there's a kind of feeling that is radiating from within.
The celebration is being influenced by their customs, traditions, and culture. The Filipinos really differ in the celebration of the Mass, although the basic of the Mass is the same.
We Filipinos are like people who, or persons who are emotionally connected into what we are saying, to what we are singing, to what we are praying.
At the start of the Mass, we say greet the person beside you. That's, to make people feel welcomed in the church. That's one way. Eventually, gradually, we try to make it more meaningful to everyone.
It reminds you of like the things that, goes on every Sunday back home in Philippines, because the singing and the response, it's, it reminds you of like how it is in the Philippines.
Back in the Philippines, me and my wife were involved in a charismatic group, and it's basically the same. The Filipino masses there are the same, but in the charismatic movement, we're more renewed by the Holy Spirit. It's not just the choir who's singing, it's like everybody's singing, there's dancing, there's praises, people testifying, it's the Mass is really, you would feel it from your heart.
It's very good to see that there are traditions you can keep. It's very good to see that not only are there Filipinos attending the Filipino Masses, you also have foreigners attending the Filipino Masses.
The charismatic way there is the praying over. You don't usually do that in a regular church. Praying over of the faithful, praying over, laying their hands over the birthday celebrants and those celebrating their anniversaries.
Giving people a blessing, especially during their birthdays, during their anniversaries, as if they are really getting the blessing they are receiving through the priest, through the ministry of the priest, is a blessing from God.
In special occasion, we even have symbolic offerings. Like if it's a Philippine Independence Day, we offer the flags, the national costume, we offer anything, any symbolic things, so that when the people attending the Mass, when the offers are being made, they would feel, that's my offering, I'm part of that. I'm part of that fruit, I'm part of that flower. All my sufferings, Lord, I'm offering to you.
It does make me want to go back and, like celebrate with the family and stuff. Because over there, it's when you're in a Mass, you feel like you're really like, excited, and like the music's like really makes you feel like lifted up or something like that. So yeah, it's a good experience.
But it's how we celebrate the Eucharist. It's how we bring the Word of God to the people. It's how they feel becoming one with us.
Even when we speak in our own language, we can really feel what we are trying to pray, what we are trying to ask from God, what we are trying to sing through the songs that we are singing. Because emotion has a great part in the way we celebrate the liturgy.
I'm so happy, I'm so blessed to be part of this Mass.
There are increased churches in Queens right now who are having Filipino masses.
Now we're going to take a look at one of this apostolate's biggest celebrations, the Feast of St. Lorenzo Ruiz. Now here at the Most Precious Blood Church, it's not only a celebration of their patron saint, but also of their culture. Let's take a look.
As you can see, we always have this tradition procession where they bring out the patron saint, which is a typical Philippine culture, and we have all the Filipino community members from Brooklyn, Queens, and other parishioners from the Filipino community, and we basically come out, participate and support for the church.
It's really nice to see a lot of different communities, Filipino communities from different parishes.
So, how long have you been a part of the youth group at Our Lady of Snow?
Almost 3 years now. 3 years?
Yes, 3 years. 3 years. And how did you find out about it? Like, how did you get involved?
We all started it together. We have this celebration at our church called Flores de Mayo, and they wanted a performance from the youth of the neighborhood. So we thought we would do Tinikling because it's a popular Filipino dance.
It's not what you are, but it's what it's in your heart that makes you a Filipino. For as long as you feel connected with the Filipino, you are welcome in a Filipino Mass.
This is what it means to be a Filipino, to be in the Filipino Apostolate, serving the Filipino people and serving the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens, so that the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens would be able to reach out to the Filipino as a whole, the Filipino in the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens, through the Filipino Diocesan Apostolate.
The apostolate is very, very important in the sense that it becomes a welcoming arm to the Filipinos who have traveled 10,000 miles to the state of New York.
The Diocese of Brooklyn really treasures very much as a wealth the cultures, the religious practices.
It brings us together. It brings us not only just myself, my wife, it's bring us all the Filipino community into church.
It's exciting to see people, when you go to church and you recognize them and you say hi and stuff like that, and you know them and you say, oh, how is this and that.
For me and my wife, this is our apostolate. This is our, we set aside other organizations, other associations. No, for our family, let this be our sole apostolate. Helping out in the Mass, and blessings would come in. The Lord is so good. When people feel belong to a church, word would spread, and we're happy to be part of that, of God's plans.
So that's what the church is all about. The church is not a building, the church is us. So the church is getting people coming together, making them belonging to the group, making them feel comfortable with you. That's what it's all about.
The Filipino Apostolate is one of the largest in the Diocese of Brooklyn, and with more and more parishes celebrating Filipino Mass, the Apostolate is sure to keep growing.
So Michael, tell me, how was it covering the Filipino Apostolate?
It was fun. I mean, as you know, we're both Filipino, so it was like going back to the Philippines with all the food, the culture, the music. It was like being around all of my cousins all over again.
Well, folks, this is all we have for today. Thank you for joining us.
If you want to check out more about this episode, please be sure to visit our website. From here in Queens, I'm Michael Rossetti.
And I'm Johanna Takadena, and we will see you next time on Tapestry of Faith.